The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
Welcome to another segment of the UCW Radio Show. This is your host, Lou, a.k.a. Falcon Coparis, and I want to thank all of our listeners for their continued support just by listening to the show. We're having great guests on the show, telling some inspirational stories, really getting stuff out there, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. We're increasing syndication. A lot of beautiful things are happening. I need to say this. And I mean, my heart goes out to Patrick Swayze's family. He lost his battle with cancer at a young age of 57. I think it's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible disease. I hope that at some point in our lifetime that they will find a cure for this, so that it can stop taking good people away from us, because that's what happens. This happened in my life. It happens. It happens, and it's a horrible thing, and it's sad. But you know, rest in peace, Patrick Swayze, great actor. He's contributed a lot to the Hollywood community, and he will be missed. And in just a little while, we're going to have a great guest on the show. And I know initially a little setback. It was just a horrible thing to hear, the passing of Patrick Swayze. But we have a great guest coming on the show. He is a fantastic actor, superb, and people may know him from shows like Seinfeld, Mission Impossible, Babylon 5. He's done a lot of great projects, especially recently. I guess a lot of people will know him from Smallville. So, but before we bring him on the line, I need to let our listeners know of something. There's a movie that's going to be released on September 18th in Atlanta. Actually, it's going to be on a national scale, but in Atlanta, on the outskirts of Atlanta, on the 17th, before the theatrical release, they are having a red carpet event. And the name of the movie is Lynch Mob. Is made by Scott and Rachel Stamper. Great people. Actually, the whole cast is great. You'll have the whole cast and crew there. A meet and greet, photo ops. You have Tony Darrow from The Sopranos and Goodfellas that are there. Keith Sweat's going to be there. You have a lot of good people. These are people that put a lot of effort into making their movie, and they put their livelihood and their lives as they know it on the line for the movie, and the Carmike Cinemas picked it up. So you'll see it on the theaters, on the big screen. So it's awesome, and trust me, you will not be disappointed with the movie. It's called Lynch Mob. You can go to lynchmobmovie.com to find out more. But go support them. Go take pictures. You have a photo op, meet and greet, so on and so forth. Trust me, in a year, you probably won't be able to get near some of the people that are going to be that were in this movie. So take the opportunity. I have to give our listeners some information. You can actually call us with your questions and comments. You'll know who the guests are on the show. Just go to ucwmagazine.com, and the whole lineup is there. Just call 323-952-4369. And you can leave a question or a comment. If we're live, you're live, but you can leave your questions and comments there. And if they're interesting enough, trust me, we'll bring them on the show. And also, the UCW Radio Show has opened up the doors to sponsorship partnerships. So marketers, advertisers that want to link up with the UCW Radio Show, I will tell you that no better time to do that than the present, as we are increasing syndication. And just this morning, it was announced, and I'm not leaking out any information, it was announced that the UCW Radio Show is the official host of the Ultimate Body radio show that is connected with the Ultimate Body, which is a reality show. It's a competition reality show that should be aired nationally on October 17th. They have their I guess, their final audition, and then the show is going to go into production. It's the grand prize is 50 grand. Okay, you can't beat that. Not a bad deal. So you can go to the ultimatebodytvshow.com to find out more. But October 17th is it. But again, then you can't make it this year. You can make it next year. But you know what? You want to be the first, because you can only do this for the first time one time. And then then you can be a reality show star. How do you like that? And then you'll be bouncing around and doing interviews, and you'll be the one that you may just be on this show. So just go check it out. And if you're on Twitter, you can shoot me out some questions on Twitter, questions, comments, whatever you want to do. My Twitter name is Louis Velazquez. That's LouisVelazquez. Follow me and ask away. Now, without further ado, let's patch in probably one of the most underrated actors that that I've seen. He played Jackie Childs in Seinfeld. He was in Mission Impossible. He was Smallville. He saved Superman. Okay, but he is also a man that, he's a man of high integrity, and you'll see during this show how that plays in on his, and you're just gonna find out for yourself. But anyway, I'm speaking too much. I think he's waiting on the line right now, so let's bring him on. Here is the great Phil Morris. Phil, it's great to have you on the UCW show. It's a great honor and pleasure to have you here. I want to thank you for being with us this afternoon.
I appreciate your interest, Lou, and it's always nice to talk to a fellow brother in arms, as it were.
Thank you so much. And you above most, even though everyone's time is, and we appreciate everyone's time that they take out for the show. You are, I'm going to say, a workaholic when it comes to Hollywood. Yeah.
As I've said to you before, I think that as an actor, especially, there's so little control that we have in our particular chosen profession that the only control that we do have is our own output and our own integrity. So I try and stay as busy as I can because I love it. I feel very fortunate that I do in my life that which I love to do the most, acting, whether it's comedy, drama, theater, television, so whatever. As long as the project is good and it has a great deal of integrity, man, I'm kind of your man. So work begets work in my book.
Yeah, but that's a good attitude to have, where a lot of people are afraid to go and work hard for what they want, but you have to. What you put in is what you get out, and that's what it comes down to. Like you can a whole bunch of sayings, reap what you sow, this, that, but basically what you do, what you put in is what you get out. And look, what can I say that hasn't been said about you? I'm talking about the good stuff, not the bad stuff. But what can I say that has been said about you? You've been a mainstay in the world of entertainment for a long time, well over 30 years. Some of your most recognizable roles have been that people that our listeners would be familiar with right off the bat: Seinfeld, Babylon 5, Star Trek, Smallville, Mission Impossible, and those are the ones that come to mind for me. Now, as opposed to me going through your resume and going through the whole thing, because you and I would be on the phone until, I don't know, Friday, and we'll both pass out and your wife will get mad. It'd be a big problem, I think. So we don't want to do that. But so if it's okay with you, I'd like to start by going to the beginning. How did you get involved in the entertainment business?
Well, I don't know if people are familiar with the original show Mission Impossible, not the Tom Cruise movies, but the original show that started in 1966 and ran through 1973.
I am, and I'm dating myself.
Well, my father, Greg Morris, starred in that show early on and was one of the first African Americans to play a role that had great integrity and was an integral part of this incredible team. The Mission Impossible team. The show was a legendary show. Groundbreaking at the time, very intelligent, highly suspenseful, used so many elements that were not being used in television at the time. Great music, great score by Lalo Schifrin, just, seminal stuff for TV, and my father was one of the stars early on. And growing up in that world as a young man, it was very attractive, obviously, to me. I was at the set quite a bit, and I liken it to growing up at Disneyland, because right across the breezeway was Star Trek. Their set was right there. My Three Sons was shooting there, Bonanza was shooting there, Mannix was shooting right across the breezeway again. So, I mean, to grow up at a time like that with a guy like my dad obviously had a great effect on me, and kind of I gravitated towards that part of the industry. Now, there's no guarantee that you're going to have any talent. Just because your pop or your mom was rocking the house. So, I mean, I went to class and I started in the theater, and that's kind of how I got my start. Just like most people. Even though I was brought up in this game, again, there was no guarantee that I had the chops. So I had to go try to figure all that out. That's the work.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people think, well, your father, your mother, they're singers, they're entertainers, and by default it's an easy road in. But there's no easy road.
No, this is a tough road. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
And even if you're gifted parts or you're gifted opportunity, those studio execs and those network executives are not the final say. The audience is.
Right.
And when the audience sees that you got the goods, they laugh with you. They cry with you. You move them to a degree. Then it really doesn't matter where you come from. Whether you come from nowhere or you come from everywhere.
Right.
Because you've made that connection, and the truth is the truth.
But that's what it is knowing how to connect with your audience. And if you know how to do that, then that's half the battle right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's basically know thyself.
Yeah, I went to see a play. Actually, it was a Christmas Carol. I went to go see Christopher Walken perform, and it was interesting because I said, wow, it says Christopher Walken's going to be Scrooge. That's interesting. So I walked in.
See it.
Yeah, well, he scared me. And I'm going to tell you why. I walked in late, and I was the only person who walked in late, but there was traffic. I can't help it. He shot me a dirty look, and I sat down quiet as a mouse, but his performance was engaging because it's like, he had the audience in his hands.
Right.
And I thought that was amazing, and that's the effect that you have. And I mean, you've done that time and time again. I had to just throw my little personal thing in there just so that people know that I can relate to stuff. I try anyway.
Yeah, you recognize it. Well, my theory is always that you don't have to be a trained artist to appreciate art.
Right.
Great art, or even good art, speaks to those that are not artists. If I'm only funny to comedians or to comic actors, then I'm limited in my scope.
Right.
Everybody has to have a certain appreciation for that. They don't need to know how to paint to appreciate the painting.
That what, you couldn't have said it any better. Because if you appeal to the masses, then your audience is vast, wide, and just out there. And that's what you want as an actor, or actor, artist. You're expressing yourself.
Right.
And it's all in the same realm. So if you can...
Well, it's like we're talking about Seinfeld. Seinfeld was a very popular show, obviously. One of the most popular shows in the history of television.
Right.
And going into audition for Seinfeld is a daunting task. So you can't think about that. You can't think about the masses, the popularity of the show, and appealing to... You have to commit to, my job is this character named Jackie Childs. Who is he? What makes him tick? What does he wear? How does he smell? What does he look like? What does he blah, blah. And all of that, when I'm specific about that, and then you throw it, wham, into the mix that was Seinfeld, it's a fortunate thing because that's a huge platform.
Yes.
Then you have the popular vote, so to speak. But I don't think you can go after that. You have to go after your task, which is the character.
Yeah.
And then if your character is good, then people get it, whether they know why they get it or they don't get it. You know what I mean?
Right, but you're becoming Jackie Childs. You know what your job is, and that's an important thing, because I see too many times in Hollywood or theater. I mean, sometimes in theater, but sometimes people try to overdo it.
Right.
They try to overact. It happens. You try to do too much, or you're a singer, you try to oversing. You do too much as opposed to doing what you're meant to do.
Right.
You're meant to walk across the street. You walk across the street. That's your job. Goodbye. That's it. You do it. But see, I want our listeners to really grab what you're saying, because you said that you had to go audition for Seinfeld. It wasn't a given to you.
No. And quite frankly, no one was convinced that I was funny I mean, I hadn't really proven myself in that regard. I've done a lot of dramatic stuff and had been the straight man in a lot of comedies, but I had never been the funny. You know, even though I thought I was a funny guy in real life, you know, I guess my friends thought I was funny. I just was never. I took this acting thing so seriously that I was finding significance so much. I was so much looking for that significance that I was missing the funny. And when I went to read for Jackie, I kind of just gave it all away and just was like, it's not even about what funny is. It's about who this guy is. And when I committed to that guy, then I found the funny. It was very, very interesting. So on a hot Saturday afternoon, I went over with 5 or 6 other African-American actors and all in our suits and went over to CBS Radford in the Valley and auditioned for Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, and I was the lucky guy who got the part.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's amazing to me because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, people think, well, your father was Greg Morris, he did all this stuff, people in Hollywood knew who you were, it should be easy for Phil Morris to go get a gig. But
no.
Nothing's given to you, and I'm glad that we touched on that because people think that it's just a given. It's just a given that, oh, okay, you're going to get a role here, there, this, that, you know, but you worked hard. You work hard for what you get.
Yeah, you really do. And there's a lot of talented people out here, like I said, and from all walks of life and all corners of the globe. So just because I have the history that I have, good for me, you know.
Yeah.
Makes me an interesting guy at parties. But when it comes to my profession, these people are putting down serious do-re-mi.
Yep.
And they want to make sure that their return is something more than a brother with a birth certificate from the dude who was in Mission Impossible in the 60s. You know what I mean? So, hey, man, it's business all over the world. That's what they want. They want the bottom line to be covered.
Yeah, that's when it comes. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, the producers, the show, whoever's forking up the money, the investors, they want to know, okay, this is not going to be a piece of crap when it's all said and done. They want to make sure that this is going to be a product that will go out and generate some capital so they can recoup on their investment, and that's it. Bottom line.
That's it. I mean, and you know, we're fortunate in my business. You know, I tell you, Lou, and like I started the interview, I'm fortunate because I love what I do. I mean, I can bear up with under the strain of the business part of it. Because what I end up doing, I mean, what's my job? If I'm doing a comedy, I've been doing a lot of comedic movies lately, it's to be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's to make this guy interesting, eminently watchable, and at the end of the day, funny.
Right.
And it's to make you feel something. I feel very fortunate that is my job. You know, I'm sitting in front of a computer as I'm talking to you. I'm writing a web series, and my job today is to try to figure out how to make this cool and awesome and hip and good. You know, I feel fortunate that that's my job every day. So,
it allows you to be creative.
And I'll work hard because I love it. You know, I'll bust my butt because I love it. It's very hard to bust your butt if you're just getting through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I speak about this with people all the time, especially successful people. I don't care what line of business you're in, and everyone has, and I say this to everyone has the same thing in common, and you're no different. And this is why I bring it up, that if you can work hard. If you love what you do, it's less work and more satisfaction for what you're doing. Okay, and then you have an appreciation for what you're doing, but you love what you do, so you're going to work harder at it. At the end of the day, especially with what you do, all that's happening, and the masses, fans, your fans, everyone are they're gonna appreciate it because you're putting out a better product. And when you do that, your value goes up, and that's what happens. You know, if your product is nothing, you know, nothing happens. And I was talking to a concert producer earlier, and she told me Tony Bennett, when he used to perform all the time, I think he was getting like $80,000 to go do a concert. But he's good at what he does. But now that he does them so infrequently, even at 80 years old, he commands over $200,000. Yeah, that's crazy. But he puts on a great show. So
well, they know that's why they're paying them.
That's what it is. So then your value goes up. Yeah, because
you know, it's real funny. We talk about this integrity thing, and you know, martial arts are very, very laden with that, and sometimes not so much. But you hope that you know that the world of martial arts has a great deal of integrity to teach from the teachers, the students, the masters, grandmasters, all that.
Right.
I played a lot of basketball as a kid, and just be killing guys outside with my jump shot and stuff. I remember playing a guy over here near my house, and just beat him up. And he's like, "Man, well, you playing in your backyard, dude. That's why you so good, 'cause this is your home court and stuff, you know." And I was like, dude, you see this spot I've been killing you from all day? He's like, "Yeah." I take this spot with me every playground, every gym, every field, everywhere I go. This spot goes with me.
Right.
It doesn't matter that it's here at my home court, because it ain't the spot, dog. It's me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the one with integrity. I take that integrity from this gym to that gym, from this movie set or that TV set to this TV set to that. That's why it doesn't matter to me how much money is in the budget. It doesn't matter to me what stars are in the piece. It matters to me the integrity of the piece.
Right.
It matters to me my output. How am I living? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've been on big movies where I've gotten very little spiritual nutrition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been a drag. I've been on really, really small films that have given me so much spiritual satisfaction. I've made lifelong friends. You just never know.
That you never know with stuff like that. That's why, just touching on on the Hollywood thing, because that's your life. You can go, and you see independent films. People do it. They don't get paid much money. I speak to a lot of actors, actresses, directors. I was talking to a director, actually a producer the other day. She has a film coming out, and it's going to be in theaters on Thursday. She invited me to the red carpet, but I just can't make it. But the bottom line is the budget wasn't huge. But you had Tony Darrow from The Sopranos, a few other guys from The Sopranos. They got involved in the project, and they were doing stuff for SAG minimum. Because
that's the game right now too, because there aren't a lot of major blockbuster films that are being made that a lot of people like of my ilk, of the like kind of less than top level Brad Pitt actor are able to be involved with. So there's a lot more films and projects that fall below that radar.
Right.
I have a film coming out October 16th. As a matter of fact, you love this segue?
Yeah, I love it.
Called Black Dynamite.
Okay.
Which is exactly what you're talking about, Lou. It's a film. Michael Jai White, who I met at Alan Goldberg's event in Atlantic City.
Right, we're going to be there in January.
Yes, there every year.
Yeah.
Love that place. My family.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But we'll talk about that in a minute. My buddy Alan.
Yeah, but I met Michael Jai at the tournament at this event, and he showed me this trailer to a movie that he wanted to do, and he hits me with the line that I hear every week. Dude, I got a part in a movie. I got this movie. I got a part for you. I got boom, boom, boom. I'm like, yeah, Mike, great. And sure enough, a year later, I get a call from my agent saying, you got a job. I'm like, what? This movie, Black Dynamite. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, Michael Jai White. They called. They working boom, 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 the boom, boom, boom. He's playing boom, boom, boom. I'm like, wow. So this movie, they got together based on this trailer that Michael shot. Michael Jai White wrote it with a man named Byron Mins and the director Scott Sanders.
Okay.
Long story short, we shot this thing. We had the best time shooting it, one of the best times I've ever had. We made very little money on this picture. Everybody did it because we love Michael. We love this project. We all had some fun. We all knew each other. A bunch of crazy comedians doing this project as well. The show was sent to Sundance. They premiered it at Sundance. Sony Pictures picked it up.
Nice.
They put all kind of money behind it. They're releasing it October 16th. They're going to blow this thing sky high, and we did it for nothing but love.
Nice. That, you know what? I'm clapping my hands right now because I love stories like that. And Michael, he's a nice guy. I mean,
he's a great guy. He deserves it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. That's the thing. I think he came to New York not too long ago. Alan was telling me he came to New York to do something with that film. Sony picked up. That's awesome. That's awesome. Not only for him, for the director, the producer, the actors involved, down to the grafter. It doesn't matter. Everybody.
That's what I'm saying. You never know.
Yeah,
you never know. If good people come to you with opportunity, reach out and assist them with it because it's going to come right back to you.
Without a doubt, and that's what you taking pride in what you do shows not only the type of person you are, because I know how you are, and I know the type of person you are, but you also hold a lot of respect for the industry that you're in. Okay, and too often, I don't care whether you're an actor, whether you're a singer, a lot of people take for granted that, hey, you got some fame. You're lucky to have that fame.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're lucky to be able to make money and go and do stuff. Now, if you're a flash in the pan, okay, then you go do your thing. You're not going to be here in 10 years.
Right.
You'll be working at McDonald's or doing whatever you're going to do. If you made money, you saved it, then God bless you. But then you'll have a hunger to go back into business, and a lot of people fall on their face. How many big stars were big 20 years ago, and today they can't even get a job? It happens.
Yes, sir.
It happens, but but the way you carry yourself and everything that you're doing for yourself and for the industry is fantastic. And to have a movie, for you guys to work on a movie, and for it to have such a low budget, and you guys put something together, and you guys put your heart into it because this is what you do best, and for it to get picked up by a major, and you're gonna get the distribution and everything is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Man, thanks. Yeah, it's the dream come true. We lived the dream.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
and the only thing that would have been better is if I was one of the producers, because then I get some of this money. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's just one of those things that you strive for, and you just can't always control it. That's why I work on so many different projects.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy one time. I was like, "What are you doing on this movie?" He's kind of a big star, a bigger star than I was, a bigger actor than I was, and he's working on this like nothing movie. And he tells me, Phil, I just don't know who I'm going to run into, who the person's going to be that's going to be that key to my life. I don't know where I'm going to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just expose myself to all these different experiences so far as it doesn't, interfere with my life and it doesn't embarrass me as an artist. And then I meet people like you or the director of photography or the sound guy or the boom. Since this actor has become a director, he's used all those people. Use them all.
But that happens. That's why, and it's funny how some people, and I hate is a bad word, but I really dislike when people pass judgment on people, not knowing them. And I say this, I said this a few times on the show, that sometimes you'll read about something. Let's say read about something about you. Phil Morris, and it's a bad thing. All of a sudden you have people passing bad judgment. They don't know you. They don't know what's happening with you. And so when you're on set, you're meeting all these people. Some bigger actors or some actors don't want to deal with the XYZ person or this person doing that. But the person that told you that is correct. You don't know who you're going to cross paths with. You have no clue. You have no clue. You may cross paths with someone that maybe in the next 5 years, all of a sudden, they're bringing you an opportunity. Okay, and that happens in business and in life, because you never know what's going to happen in the world. Now, Phil, you've done, as we know, your resume is like vast, because you don't take a break. You're going on and on. You did all these things. I'm looking at your resume right now. It's like, ooh, my head's going toot. Everything from Mission Impossible on down. Jamie Foxx show, Star Trek, so on and so forth, but you, the person behind this vast career, and a lot of people, and I wanted to say this too, a lot of people may not know, you do a lot of voice overs, in cartoons and in animated features and stuff, and which I think is interesting, because they may not know it's you.
It's a great little side business, as I call it, and I kind of backed into it. I think as an actor, you just are available to all kinds of stimulus that's out there, theatrical stimulus, and voiceover world is another outlet, and especially animation, which I like particularly well, because you get a chance to dig deep and do some crazy stuff, and you're attached to a real kind of like a play. You're doing a play, a vocal play. Not so much when you're doing commercials or spokesman stuff. Mm-hmm. That's different. I don't think that is nearly as fun as the animation.
Right.
And I've been fortunate to do a lot of it, both kind of kid stuff and more adult oriented, superhero action adventure stuff. And it's wonderful. I do a show right now called The Secret Saturdays for the Cartoon Network.
Oh, really? That's cool.
It's the #1 kids show on the Cartoon Network. And it's a bit like Johnny Quest, like the old Johnny Quest show.
Okay.
Where you have this little kid who's this very inquisitive young man and his parents who are scientists who go around the world, solving mysteries and debunking myths or proving them, and a lot of action and a lot of, run and jump and hitting and rolling and explosions and, different creatures in it. And it's getting to be quite popular. We did our second season just finished last season, and Mattel just picked up the toy line, and
Nice.
it's kind of a fun industry to be in. I'm a big comic book cartoon fanatic anyway. I've got tens of thousands of comic books, literally. And so it's a lot of fun to kind of go in that world and play one of those characters that I've loved since I was a kid. So it's great.
See, who would know that the great Phil Morris has a whole gigantor comic book collection?
Yeah,
But you know what?
It's your references, right?
Yeah.
Your references make you interesting.
Of course. But as I said with the show, a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, most times, that when the normal person, when they see Phil Morris, let's say, I'm just referring to you, they just see your work, the end result. They don't see the journey. They don't see how you got there. Nothing is easy. Nothing was handed to you on a silver platter, but you're human. And that's the thing that people forget. When they go and they bash people and they criticize and they do this, or they just see something on TV. It's like, okay, well that's a person, whatever. He's an actor, and he's like, oh wow, but you're human,
right?
And there's a human part to you, to everyone in Hollywood. Whether it be Michael J. White or whoever it may be, there's a human element there that a lot of people forget, especially the media. They forget that.
Yes, they do.
You
become a commodity at a certain level when you reach a certain amount of exposure. As far as they're concerned, you are a commodity.
Right.
And they treat you like that, which is unfair.
Yeah, it is unfair. That's why I'm fortunate and I'm appreciative of me having the ability to do this show, because it allows me to tell the stories the way they should be told, because the way these stories should be told are by the guest, not by me. I just go into it and we have the conversation. We go through it like we're doing right now, and you tell your story, and you're connecting with the listeners, and they're getting to see who you are, and who that person is a great person, has a great respect for their industry, has a great respect for what they do, high integrity, and so on and so forth. Now, what a lot of people, and we talked about it, we touched on it a little bit, what a lot of people may not know about you. They see you on Seinfeld and you're Jackie Child, you're doing that stuff. They see you on Smallville and you're saving Superman, like It's funny because somebody was telling me that. I didn't even know that because I don't watch the show. But they said, yeah, Phil Morris, he's on Smallville. He saved Superman. I said, okay, well that's a good thing. We don't want Superman to die now.
No, it's a pretty powerful spot to be in. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, because he needs you now, boy. But you're doing all this stuff. But also, there's another side to you beyond Hollywood. So we can shelf Hollywood. We're going to get to your current projects, because I want to touch on that for sure. Beyond the one that you're doing with Michael J. White. Just talk about the other stuff you're doing. But you're also involved in martial arts.
Yes.
Okay.
I've been involved in the martial arts. Go ahead, finish, because I'll start to talk, man, and you won't get a word in edgewise.
No, that's okay, but that's what it's about. It's about a give and take on the show. That but you're involved in martial arts. You have been for some time now. I like our listeners to know how you got involved with that, and then of course we're gonna back into talking about our good friend Alan Goldberg. But I want them to get an idea of where you started with that.
Well, as we mentioned, my father, Greg Morris, was in the show Mission Impossible in the mid-'60s to mid-'70s. And at that time, they wanted to bring many different unique elements to the show. One of them was the hand-to-hand combat. But they didn't want to get involved in, John Wayne, Quiet Man, big roundhouse punch, bar brawls. They thought that the Mission Impossible team would be more sophisticated than that. So right around 65 or 66, something like that, the martial arts kind of started to peek their head up in America through Ed Parker's karate tournament down in Long Beach. Some other Green Berets had come back from the Orient at the time, from Asia, and brought techniques and various systems that we were just not familiar with. And they wanted the Mission Impossible team to study karate and jiu-jitsu and aikido and savate and all these exotic fighting styles, and then bring it to the show. In '66, I was 7. So when my father started to study with a man named Bruce Tegner, who was one of the first GIs to bring the martial arts back from Okinawa, at 7 years old, I went along with him. And I started to train in the children's class on Saturdays, and we'd go once during the week at night and then once on Saturdays. And that's how I was introduced to it all. And it was like a whole broad brush approach. You know, it was karate and judo and jiu-jitsu and yawara, sabat, aikido, you name it, I was exposed to it. And so I did that for a couple of years, and then bounced out of that, you know, played football and moved around, and then I got real interested in it again because of the Bruce Lee craze, and really wanted to study with somebody good. And my father found a great Hapkido master named Bong Soo Han, who was the choreographer of the great Billy Jack movies with Tom Laughlin.
And he is a great, he was a great martial artist, but
Master Han passed about 3 years ago or so.
Yes, he was great, no doubt about it.
True gentleman, one of the great gentlemen of the martial arts. So I went from Bruce Tegner, who was one of the first to bring the arts to the United States, to one of the leading exponents of Hapkido that will ever live, Bong Soo Han. So my influences were really solid. You know, I think that I got a chance to absorb them in the proper way, even if I didn't stick with it. My entree to the arts and my tutelage were by some of the most renowned specialists of their day, of all time. So I studied with Master Han for like maybe 3 years and got my brown belt, and then, you know, girls and fun and stuff got in the way, and I bounced out of that. But that stuck with me, and I always loved Bruce Lee, and I was always looking for a Wing Chun studio, and, you know, life happens, got married, did this, did that. And I bounced I was driving down the street one day, in 1987. I'll never forget it. There was a little rain in the air. I'm driving down Venice Boulevard, going home, and I see to my right, Wing Chun Kung Fu. I went, what? I almost crashed the car because I'd never seen a Wing Chun studio. I didn't even know what Wing Chun really looked like. I just knew it was the style that Bruce Lee had studied, and I had a book by James Yim Lee, the green book, called Wing Chun.
The Wing Chun techniques.
Yeah, I saw the movements, but I had no idea what it looked. I'd never seen anybody do it.
Right.
So I drive into this parking lot and I knock on the door, ring the doorbell, it's closed. I didn't care. I needed to know. I was burning with a desire. And this Asian cat comes down and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he opens the door. He says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I really would love to study Wing Chun." He goes, "Okay." And he looks at me and he says, "You're like what, 6'1"? I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "I'm 5'5" or whatever he is, and 110 pounds. How do you think I would stop you?" I mean, literally, this is the first interlude that I have with this gentleman.
Right.
And I say, being a smart guy, I say, "I don't know." And he says, literally, he says to me, "Well, I would shoot you, of course." And then he starts laughing. He just starts laughing. He goes, "I wouldn't shoot you. That's just to tell you that Wing Chun is about whatever it takes."
Right.
Beyond technique. This gentleman was Sifu Grandmaster Hawkins Chung. I've been with him ever since. I have been with him since 1987, and I will be going into class tomorrow night. He is one of those force of nature individuals that I would walk to the ends of the earth to honor and to train with, and he's opened up a lot inside of me beyond the martial arts.
But that's good, because that transcends with everything you're doing in life. You know, because you learn how to be humble. You learn how to appreciate, you know, things around you. I mean, when you're involved in martial arts, it gives you a different, like a third eye.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm glad that we spoke about that, because again, a lot of people don't know that you're heavily involved in martial arts. They don't know that. They don't know.
You know what? My life is so exposed on a certain level. I mean, now I'm not saying I'm this big star, and every day I walk out the door, people looking for my autograph. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, I've done some work that people have recognized, and it makes you a little bit more visible than the normal guy.
Right.
With that having been said, my martial arts training is for me.
Right.
My work as an actor is for the public, for me, but it's for the public. The end result, at the end of the day, I got to be seen doing what I do there, or else I'm not a very successful actor.
Right.
My practice as a martial artist is strictly for myself, and I've had very little desire to represent it on screen. I could go my whole career with the talent that I've got without throwing a punch or a kick and have a fine career.
Yeah.
I don't need to follow that. And I didn't need people to think that I learned how to fight or I learned my art on a movie set.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, so, like you have a lot of actors that do. They learn how to do quote unquote movie fighting, because that's what it is.
And that's cool, man. I mean, it is. I mean, something is better than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something. But with you, and you said you do this for yourself, and of course, if you're heavily involved in martial arts, you do it for yourself, and it gives you. I mean, you're able to escape everything in the world when you walk in to train.
Yes.
Okay, and well, let me ask you this, since we're on the topic of martial arts, and then we're going to talk about our buddy Alan Goldberg, Sifu Alan Goldberg, Master Alan Goldberg. Actually, he's bouncing up, so he's like Grandmaster. He's like he's the man without a doubt. He's the most humble guys that I know, and I told you about that earlier. But you look at mixed martial arts, all right, and you see everything that's going on now. How that's the latest craze. Now, do you think that do you think that the path that's going, that it's overshadowing martial arts itself?
I don't think that truly it will ever overshadow traditional martial arts. I think that mixed martial arts is a great offshoot and outgrowth of traditional martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hybrid, and with hybrids there's very little purity. Mm-hmm. And with that, you lack certain underpinnings that I like about traditional martial arts.
Right.
First of all, not everybody can do mixed martial arts. It's not, and mixed martial arts, if you're going to do mixed martial arts, you have to be kind of a young person.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, no doubt.
Has a great deal of athleticism, and that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it'll overtake traditional martial arts, because not everybody can get behind it. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things. I think it was also developed for a more entertainment aspect of fighting. There are no referees. There is no ring. There is no mat in the street. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There is no, you go to a bar, there's no dude that's going to say, let's get it on.
Right.
You're going to pick up a bottle and try to hit you in your head.
Right.
So there's a whole different philosophy and mentality to mixed martial arts that I don't ever think will eclipse traditional systems. And I think there's room for it all. I have a lot of friends who are involved in the Pride Fighting, K1, UFC stuff, and I love them all. And I think they're all bad dudes and dudettes.
Right.
It's just a different way to train. It's a different way of approaching it. I think as long as we have that mindset, then we'll be cool. Right. I think it's when we start to judge it and say, those guys aren't a part of the martial arts world. They are, definitely. Yeah. Or that is just the way it's going to go, because it's not. It is one way, but it's not the whole ball of wax thing. The one downside I do see with it, unfortunately, and I don't know how you rein this in, is the mentality that's generated. There's a certain amount of violent intent with mixed martial arts training that if you're not a smart student, if you're not a savvy practitioner, can get out of hand. Yeah. Can get out of hand. Well, and I don't like to see young kids being given that mentality too soon, before they can discern the respect and the discipline and the self-control that the more traditional systems have to offer.
Yeah, I agree with that. Who said this? And I forget, and I forget, maybe it was from a movie or something. Or maybe it was a Karate Kid, I don't know. But, you learn how to fight, so you know how to fight, so you can avoid fighting. Okay, because if you know how to fight, you know how to defend yourself, so you know what you're capable of. You know what damage you can do.
Right.
So if you know this, then you know how to control yourself, because that's the big thing. Because with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. You got that in, I guess Smallville, all this stuff. But it's true. But it's so true. When you have all this, when you're in martial arts, you can kill somebody, literally. If need be. So you have to find that control so that you're not doing that stuff. All right.
It's interesting because I've been training for so long
Mm-hmm.
that I train now just to see the truth. I mean, do I want to protect myself? Yeah. Do I want to protect my family when we go out if something happens? Of course, it's a given. But after so long, as Bruce Lee would say, a punch is just a punch and a kick is just a kick.
Mm-hmm.
There is a part of this that shows me the truth of life that I can't get, Lou, by a conversation. You have a point of view, I have a point of view, we talk about it, and then there's something maybe discovered. Who knows? I mean, we have ego.
Mm-hmm.
When we train martial arts, and I go to class, and I'm in the truth, and somebody punches at me or kicks me, and I pass their hand or their foot, that is training that it's incontrovertible. We don't have to speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say, oh, I got you, you didn't get me. No, you didn't get me, and I passed your hand or foot. I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not in the truth, I get hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's that real. That's what I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps me superimpose that on problems in life that aren't so clear.
Mm-hmm.
On situations that don't have that incontrovertibility, that are more open to interpretation. As I train these martial arts, as I train this concrete system over and over and over, hundreds of thousands of times of reps of this and that, and blah, I am getting closer to an incontrovertible truth.
Right.
I then try and live that life in the world of concepts and egos and, opinion and all that. And I think when we use the martial arts that way, it takes a village, right? So it helps strengthen our village.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm glad that you're saying this so our listeners hear this, because a lot of times people they'll go and they'll get so emotional about a situation, and they'll let their emotions just kind of, I don't know, just flow too far, and when you lose control, you lose control. And when you're training in martial arts, you find that truth. Okay, and when it happens, it's done. It's like you get into a car accident. How many times people get into a car accident? You get into a car accident, it happened. You see what happened. No one got hurt. Okay. Some people get crazy. Somebody passes somebody on the road. You have road rage. People don't have control, and that's a bad thing in the society. But again, if you're not trained to control yourself, and that's what you're gonna have. Again, I'm guilty to a certain extent with getting upset when I'm driving, but I catch myself and I say, you know what, big deal. I'm gonna be a minute later. Big deal.
Right. But that's the training, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
My goodness, we all are. None of us are perfect, as far as I've checked out lately.
Yeah.
So, it's all a work in progress. And if you get upset about a certain thing, then you just take that note in. Be aware. Don't be so egotistical that it ain't you. It's never you. It's always them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
And then you'll learn the lesson, and then next time, hopefully, you'll be less anxious or less fearful or less whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That causes us to lose that control or get outside of ourselves. You see it. You see it with Serena Williams in the U.S. Open.
Yeah, did you see that on TV?
Yeah.
And I felt, it was weird because I saw it, and I saw her reaction, and I felt bad for her because I don't think she meant to do it, but she lost control for that moment.
That's the thing. It's like you ask this of yourself. She's at the U.S. Open. There's 17,000, 20,000 people in that stadium. All eyes are fixed on her. She's one of two African-American women in the field. The other one is her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a lot of focus. There's a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And they're athletes at the top of their game. They're like racehorses ready to go out of the starting gates. And one thing, boop, sparks them. And, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, and that's not good. You want to talk about a moronic move, look at Kanye West, what he did recently.
Oh, I don't even know what that's about. I mean, that might have been induced by something other than a highly pitched athlete, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but it's I just wanted to throw that in because I thought it was ridiculous.
That's a whole different kettle of fish. I'm talking about in that moment where your emotions are high. How do you keep that elevator down? That's training.
Yeah, you're controlling that emotion before you lose it, and if you can do that, you know what, you can avoid massive arguments. You can avoid fighting with people. You can avoid so many things, even at your workplace. For those that are just work,
you can avoid infirmity. You can avoid, I think you can avoid cancers and ulcers and it's just, man, how you living? How you living? And so for me, Lou, the bottom line is the martial arts for me create a way for me to train my life so that it's all manageable. I'm in a crazy business.
Yeah, but
I need things around me to keep me tethered, to help me answer the questions that are very difficult to answer, any other way. And I don't want drugs, and I don't want alcohol, and I don't want women. I got a great woman. I want the truth, and that will literally set me free.
But that's what they say. The truth will set you free. And but when you're done with your day and everything, you go home. Anyone, you're done with your day, you go home, and no one's there but you. So if you don't have truth within yourself, it's a little difficult to have that in the real world. So yeah, I mean, you're at a good place, or in a good place in your life within you.
Yeah, that is good.
Beyond your wife and everything else and all the great people around you. If you're good within yourself, then that'll kind of trickle over to the people around you. And then the cycle begins, and as you said, with the village and everything else, then hopefully it spreads, and then people have a pay it forward type of mentality, and they garner appreciation for what they have in life and go and try to do better. But also, hopefully they'll help the person next to them to achieve that as well. But and keep everything controlled. But when you're in martial arts, like Master Alan Goldberg, he is a Wing Chun master. He is one of the I guess the most highly sought after Wing Chun masters in the country, and he produces the biggest martial arts event in the world, period. The end happens every January. We all go. But when he teaches, and he's been teaching for like over 35 years or something, he believes in tradition. And there's a reason for it, because he believes in building that solid foundation. Because even when you're building a house, if you have that solid foundation, you can build anything on top of it. But if you have that solid foundation, you're strong. Okay, and then that's what all begins with the foundation. Now let's talk about the Action Martial Arts event in January. You go every year, a lot of great people. Why don't you tell us from your point of view about it? Because I talk about it, maybe too much. But
I'll talk about it too much for you, because I'm definitely. I look at myself as a representative of Sifu Alan Goldberg.
There you go.
He is my brother. We are brothers. There's no doubt about it. And I got I got a funny story just about everything. But I was training with a gentleman named Matthew Klein. Mm-hmm. Matthew Klein is one of Sifu Goldberg's leading students. Has been for years. I was at my agency at the time that day. This is years ago. And meet this nice cat in the lobby. I went to go see my agent. This cat's in there looking for an agent. I'm like, hey, what's your name? Matthew. Great. Nice to meet you, Phil. Great. Nice to meet you. And I leave him. I swear, Lou, this is what happened. Mm-hmm. So I go to class that night. Mm-hmm. That night. I'd never seen this guy before, ever in my life. Go to class that night. The dude is at my class. I'm like, what? So
he's stalking you.
You Wing Chun dude? He's like, yeah, you're Wing Chun. I said, yeah. I said, we should teach this. Alan Goldberg in New York, boom, boom. And he's looking around, and he has some comments about the class and stuff. And so I start working with him in the foyer.
Okay.
Out in the hallway.
All right.
And he's like, wow, this is great, man. You want to train? I'm like, yeah, let's train. Exchange numbers. We start training and just go to war. I mean, like great training partners are hard to find.
Sure. No, without a doubt.
Because there's a level of intensity that you want to get to, because you have to, if you really are looking for the level of excellence mm-hmm. that is required, you have to break through the wall of comfort, mm-hmm. is what I call it. And you have to find people who are better than you, who are different than you are, who pull different things out of you. That was Matthew with me, and I was that for him.
Right.
So we're going to war, man, like 2-3 times a week and class. And he's calling Sifu Goldberg to get freaking tips on how to take me. Okay? He's like, Sifu Goldberg, I got this guy here. He's tall, he's athletic, he's fast. And I mean, what do I do? And he's giving him tips. Sifu Goldberg's giving him tips. He's never met me on how to get me. So Matthew would come with some different flavors, some different spice the next time we'd work out, and I'd have to handle it and deal with it. And of course, I'm training all the time, so I'm coming up with different stuff, and he's calling Goldberg and saying, I can't, man, he's getting me. So one day, I come home, I get this call, mm-hmm. and I hear this on the phone. I say, hello. Hello. And I say, yeah, hello. Is this Phil Morris? And I say, yes, it is. Who's calling? This is Sifu Alan Goldberg. Dude. It was awesome. He goes, I hear you kicking my student's butt. I don't really think so. Sifu. He's very, very good, and we have a great time. I love the guy. And
Yeah.
he goes, well, I've heard a lot about you, and I would love to invite you to my event out here. It was the first event in
It was
Atlantic City.
10 years ago in January. 10 years ago January.
I'd love to go.
Yep.
I went, and I've been going. I think I've missed 1 year. In 10 years, I've missed one.
Yep.
And went out there, had a wonderful time, fellowshiped with everybody, felt the love and the vibe of 2,000 of the greatest martial artists you'll ever see anywhere. It is a reverential. It's almost like a pilgrimage now.
Yeah.
And Alan Goldberg and his partners at the time, I don't know how many are still around. He's pretty much a one-man gang these days.
Yeah, he's like a man on a mission. I got to say, and I know he's gonna hear this, but I want our listeners to hear this too. Just to interrupt you for a second, that he is probably one of the hardest working people that I know, because tirelessly. He's hustling and doing this. That's why I have a lot of respect for him. That's why he is my good friend, and that's why for him I'll go to the ends of the earth for anything that I can do to help him to make things happen. But I'll let you continue. I just want to throw that in there, but I'll let you continue with what you were saying.
Well, I went, and the first year I went, I second your thoughts. By the way, Alan Goldberg he's tenacious. Tenacious is the word for him.
Mm-hmm.
I went the first year. Everybody was surprised. Oh, Phil Morris and whatever I was doing at the time, and there was, of course, Seinfeld and stuff like that. And great, man, come back next year. Yeah, I'll be back. And I don't think they really believed that I was number one, a martial artist, because I don't do anything. I mean, the first year I went there, I did. I practiced with Sifu's guys in my hotel room. We'd thrown each other all around the room. One of the guys broke his ankle. It was pretty crazy. So they realized that I was a true martial artist, but they just didn't know if I was for real with them.
Right.
The next year I came back, I brought my Sifu with me.
Nice.
I brought Sifu Hawkins Chung in. I flew him in. I put him up. I got the limo. We drove in the limo from Philly to Atlantic City. I was with him. He knew everybody there, of course. And they were like, wow, not only did the dude come back, he brought his teacher.
Nice.
And his teachers, it was Inside Kung Fu Man of the Year in 2001. So,
right.
I definitely wanted to be a part of this thing. I wanted them to take me seriously because, as we've talked about already, a lot of my ilk are wannabes. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
And I am not. I'm bona fide. Rank and file card carrying, and I go every year. I exchange techniques with anybody I can. I sit in on as many demos as I can. I hang out with some of the greatest technicians of any system that you can name. It is amazing for a real martial artist. So
Sure.
I'm honored to go every year. It's great.
And the thing is, for those that aren't too familiar with it, they should be, because this January marks the 10th anniversary. It's a banner. It's going to be a banner event with the lineup. I mean, he tells me about it all the time, and it just keeps growing and growing. Because Jeff Speakman is going to be there. And even on this show, we have Ed Parker Jr. coming on the show. We kind of missed each other last time, but he's going to be on UCW Radio, I think, next week. His father, as everyone knows, is Ed Parker, and the father of American Kempo. But he may be going in January as well. I don't know.
It's a star-studded event always. Whoever does show up eclipses who doesn't show up.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And again, he puts his heart, soul into it, and and martial arts, he has the ability, because you see all these events. I don't go to them. That's the only event that I go to as far as martial arts is concerned. If it's a tournament or something, I may go, but as far as a gala event like that, that's the only one that I go to.
You're a smart man. You picked the cream of the crop there.
Oh, yeah.
Like you say, your listeners should, if they're not knowing, you should know, and be aware that in your area, if you are from that area, there is an event happening of unbelievable proportions that you should try to take advantage of. Go to see one of the expo days if you can't go to the event itself.
Yeah.
Because they are tremendous. The demonstrations are world class and numerous.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never fail to find something that you will be interested in. They have products and accessories and books and magazines and videos and DVDs and weapons and It's really unbelievable. I love it every year. I can't wait to go every year.
Every year gets better and better, and it just, I mean, when I see his face when he's there with his tuxedo, when Alan's there, and then all of a sudden he's just serious, and he's just, and you know the thing is, some people in that position, and this is, and I told you we were talking about this earlier before we did the show today, that he is one of the most humble people that I know, because he just works, and he gets done what he needs to get done, and he was on the cover of the New York Post just a few weeks ago.
Wow.
And still, he's like, okay, well, it's whatever. I'm just working for the event, and this is what I'm doing for the martial arts community. And he's there even at his event where he could be a not so humble guy at that moment, but still, and I tell him, and I give him a hug for this. Still, he sits there and he says, you know something? And he tells me this all the time, that his what he tells people at the event, that he's the most important person there, because he's there to serve them.
Right.
And I mean, come on, But anyone that's listening to this, go to the event. It's in Atlantic City at the Tropicana. I think it's January 8th and 9th. It's an awesome event. Especially this time around, the 10th anniversary. You will not be able to repeat this, because they can meet you, Phil, when you're around. They'll Chuck Zito, Don the Dragon Wilson, Cynthia Rothrock. The list goes on and on. I said Jeff Speakman's going to be there, and I know there are going to be some mixed martial arts guys there, and there may be a couple of pro wrestlers there. I don't know what he has up his sleeve. Things are happening. He's getting jiggy.
He's got very big sleeves. So
yeah, he does.
A lot of stuff coming out of him.
And he's quick too. Forget it.
No, he's blisteringly fast. And one thing, we'll get off the Alan Goldberg celebrity train, but if a teacher is measured or a man is measured by those around you, his students are numerous, and they always assist, and they're always there, and they're always helpful and supportive, and you need something, they're there for you, and it's a tribute to who he is. All the people that helped him put this on. Beyond him, do so out of their great love and affection and respect for him.
No doubt.
That's how I'm involved. That's why I keep coming every year. My respect and honor and love for Alan Goldberg and what he has wrought on our community, and it is a beautiful thing. So, again, I'm honored to be his friend. I'm honored to be a part of the event every year. I shake hands, as many hands, and take pictures and kiss babies and do whatever is appropriate. It's a good thing, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
No doubt. Now, let me just say that's January 8th and 9th in Atlantic City, 2010. It's going to be an awesome event. Now we need to shift to what you have going on nowadays, Phil, so you can talk about your new projects. I know you said you're working on a webisode. You have the movie coming out October 16th, so just go into it and just talk about what you need to talk about.
Well, it's more of more, as I like to put it.
more of Phil Morris.
more. Black Dynamite's going to be incredible. I think it is timely right now. It is a throwback to the blaxploitation 70s pictures. It is a full-blown comedy with all the bells and whistles of that time and that era. Michael Jai White plays a composite character built of Fred Williamson, Jim Brown, and Jim Kelly, known as Black Dynamite in the neighborhood.
So is this like a Kentucky Fried movie-ish type of thing, or?
No. Look at it as though it's a movie that was done in the 70s that they just recently found.
Okay.
So it looks just like all of that, but it's obviously contemporarily made. But it looks just like one of those throwback pictures. I'm going to get you something, but Three the Hard Way or Hot Potato or Black Caesar or any of those movies that were out at that time, with all of the send-ups and honorariums and homages to that era. Tommy Davidson plays a pimp in it named Cream Corn. I play a character named Saeed.
Tommy Davidson's in it? That's going to be hilarious.
That's hilarious. My God. Cedric Yarborough from Reno 911.
Nice.
Sally Richardson Whitfield is the lady lead. Kim Whitley is one of the characters. Just a funny.
So you have like a Foxy Brown type of character in there.
Totally. A real hot-looking Angela Davis.
Okay, cool.
Very much like Black Pantherette.
That's
But
nice.
all of that stuff is in it. It's going to be really, really funny. It comes out October 16th. So
Is that going to be on national theaters or
wide release, big screen,
nice,
Sony
sweet,
Pictures?
sweet.
It's going to bring the heat. Trust me.
Cool.
So that's a lot of fun. I just finished a series presentation. We'll see if it gets picked up. I think it will. Called Love That Girl.
Okay.
With Tatiana Ali as the lead, as the girl in Love That Girl. Tatiana was the younger daughter in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's the young actress from that. The show's created by Martin Lawrence, of Martin Lawrence fame. And,
yeah, go figure, right?
yeah, that's crazy. A guy named Bentley Kyle Evans, who created The Martin Show for Martin Lawrence, and a gentleman by the name of Jeff Franklin, who did Full House and Bosom Buddies, Laverne and Shirley, a bunch of shows like that.
So you got some people that have done things, some powerhouses in there.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great, and it's a real traditional 4-camera, sitcom. I play her dad, and it should be a lot of fun. Really funny cast, and traditional values and stuff. I kind of dig it. So I'm sure that'll get picked up. So look for that. That's already on the internet. Getting a lot of hits. And then I'm creating a web series called Emissary.
Okay.
Which I started last year, and we're just starting to put it together. It starts shooting in March, with me as the lead. And as it gets closer, then I'll bust out what it's about. Working with a wonderful writer named Paul Jenkins on it.
Okay.
And it's going to be the first time for me to reveal my martial arts on screen in the way that I want to see it.
Right.
In the way that I like martial arts on screen. And it's a very much an Indiana Jones meets The Bourne Identity.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Project, yeah. Very, very, very high level stuff. So I'm very, very excited about that. That's actually, the computer's on right now. I'm writing that now. And I just finished a movie called Brand Dead, which is a Kentucky Fried Movie kind of film.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. See? So you were right, man.
Yeah,
you were on the
I was a little bit. I was like the guy that gave the punchline to the wrong joke. But
yeah, no, but it was good because you led right into this movie, Brand Dead, which is another really low budget film, and we just finished it, so I don't know quite when it's going to be out. But it's going to be hilarious. I've done some of these things, Lou, that have been real low budget, under the wire, and every single one of them has blown up, like Black Dynamite. Being the first of the few of them that has blown up.
You know why? You know why that's happening? And I'm going to tell you why. Because you have a bunch of great people involved in a great project. They all believe in it. They believe in it. It's not about, well, you're going to give me $2 million for this and this and that. You guys are doing this for SAG minimum because you have to, because you're required to, but you're doing it for like nothing.
Right. For love. And the love is the most. That's the thing that converts the most to success as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. You hear about these big budget pictures and how they go nowhere, because there's no heart. There's no heartbeat. And these smaller films, Little Miss Sunshine, things like that have such a great big heart that you can't deny them. And I think I've been a part of a few projects like that lately.
You know what happens, and I think that the big studios, they miss the point. They do miss the point, and they forget. And even I can kind of like equate this or relate this to things that are going on in this country, that they forget what it is to build something, to have a production with as you said, with heart and with thought and with putting your soul into it. That's like a General Motors that's flipping all over the place and went bankrupt the whole 9 yards. They lost something in translation. I had Alfred Demore. He's the founder of Demore Motors. The guy's building a $2 million car. He's been involved. He came from nothing, from Rochester. He was a poor kid. He built a multi-gazillion-dollar empire. The guy hangs and bangs with every celebrity on the planet, but he's still a real guy, just like me and you. But he knows, you got to put your heart into something if it's going to be worth anything, whether it be acting, a movie, whatever it is. And I think that there's something lost in translation.
You're absolutely right, man. And ultimately, it comes down to that integrity thing we started talking about, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter how much money you have if the integrity isn't behind it. The money's not going to put it there.
and that does happen, and that's why the projects that you're working on, they are going to shine. Because if you're attaching yourself, you, a person of high integrity, you're attaching yourself to a project that you believe in, and the people involved are also of high integrity, and the project is decent, how can you lose?
Right.
You can't. You can't. But that's my opinion. But
at the end of the day, you do the best you can, and then you can walk away clean. Right?
Yeah. But I mean, what was that movie? When they did that movie, The Notebook. Okay, they did it. No one knew about it. No one knew. I mean, even look, It's a Wonderful Life. A better example. They did that movie. They did that movie. It was like lost in. It was nobody cared about it. Then all of a sudden, it becomes an American classic. Why? Because all of a sudden somebody woke up. But at least now you have people out there that are looking for those diamonds in the rough, those gems that are just there. And the projects that you're working on, I hope that they are those gems that they do snag up, and it seems that that's what's happening with you, and God bless you for that, because you deserve it, no doubt about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate being on the show, and I hope UCW does great things and reaches a lot of people that need to hear some of the things that aren't out in other media outlets, and I just appreciate the time.
No, Phil, I appreciate your time. I know, again, you took out time from your busy schedule, especially you're writing the web series and everything, and I know that it took us a little time to get to this point, but I'm glad we did it. I think our listeners got a lot of insight to your life. Just my personal opinion, or my personal view of you, is that yes, you are a man of high integrity. I say this from the heart, I am honored, truly honored, to have you, or have had you on the show, because that just, I'm proud to be able to provide the platform that you can tell your story, okay, and which is an amazing one. And it's not one about patting yourself on the back, because you did not do that this whole show. That's not what it's about. It's about showing you the real person, the human factor, the human element here. Okay, and I hope that a lot of people did learn something, that no matter what, I don't care where you come from, how much money you got in the bank, you have to work hard for what you got. Okay, and if they learned anything today, they learned that from you. And I do thank you for that. Now, I know you have to go work on your web series, so I don't want to keep you any longer, but I wanted to thank you again. And if it's okay with you, as your other projects are coming down the line, I'd like to have you back on the show. Before I see you in January, but I'd like to have you back on the show as your projects are developing.
Well, that would be great. I'd love to let you know how they're moving along and get support, because we all need support out here, and if there's anything else I can help you guys with, just don't hesitate to call, man. I've loved the conversation, and we'll continue it on.
Excellent, Phil. Thank you so much. You have yourself a good night.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.